In the maintenance section of the book, in the instruction book, there have been some changes made as far as the way the adjustments are made to the machine. If you're sewing along and for some reason you break a needle, jam up the machine, it's always a good idea to stop and check your needle bar height. Now this is showing instruction in the manual. And it's called out in the manual. This adjustment should be checked if the machine skips stitches, after machine jams, or a needle has broken. What we do is to remove the bobbin case, remove the brace cover, and at this point we change the needle from the correct way that it's installed to the incorrect way. The reason being we can more clearly see where the hook is in relation to the scarf of the needle. Now the scarf of the needle, or this little indentation that's normally on the right, is on the left. You hand wheel the machine counterclockwise, and you can see the hook is turning. This is the hook turning counterclockwise. At this point, the point of the hook, being this part right here, is about 1/8 of an inch behind the needle. Again, turning counterclockwise slowly, it comes forward, and when the point of the hook just lines up with the back side of the needle, proper needle bar height should place that point right in the middle of that small scarf, just as it shows in the figure in the manual. So when the hook comes forward, the scarf being this indentation right here, the point of the hook should be lined up with the center of that scarf, just when they meet up. If it is not in that position, you need to take your Allen wrench, and there's a hole in the casing of the machine. I'll run in this through the back so we can see. Back in here, there's a hole. The Allen wrench has to pass through that hole and into the center of this shaft. There's a set screw in there which holds that collar to this needle bar. You need to loosen it, then move the needle bar to the proper height so that the point of the hook just comes into the center of the scarf, and then retighten that collar back onto the shaft. This is the collar that goes on the needle bar. That's this part right here. Okay, when that's on there, your Allen wrench has to come in to the center of the shaft of that and loosen it, move the needle bar, and then tighten it back down. Just so you see which part we're talking about right here. This adjustment can be made with the pan on the machine. The pan does not have to be removed to make this adjustment, but you should have this end plate off on the 126 and the same plate on the 155, the double pull. And in order to check it, you have to hold the machine up at about a 45-degree angle so that the hook doesn't fall out. If you have it setting down, well, you can't see it, and there's a good chance that the hook will fall out. So it needs to be up at about a 45-degree angle, like so. In our maintenance section, we refer to the spring on the driver. This being the driver, the spring being this little piece of metal right here. It is held on the driver with 2 screws. What we have gone to with many of the machines is a solid driver, which no longer has a spring on there. So your machine that you receive may or may not have a spring on the driver. In the threading instructions, there's reference made to the bronze block, which is this, and on the later models now we have an eyelet rather than having the hole down through that brass block for threading purposes. If it becomes necessary due to differences in carpet nap height, the height of the feed roller may be changed. This particular model, the 126, when your feed roller is down on this, it should just touch or be very close to touching the lower rollers where we have them set up. With a longer nap, heavier carpet, you may need to raise that. Depending on the machine, they will either have an Allen type screw at this point or a regular slotted screw. But you loosen this lift dog right here and then lift or raise the feed roller. I would say do it maybe 1/8 of an inch at a time to see if it feeds better that way. In other words, don't move it up 1/2 inch at a time because it'll surely spin freely, but move it a little bit at a time until you get it to the right spot. This also aids when you're turning corners with the machine to put less tension on the feed roller so it's easier to go around corners. But again, note your reference point to begin with, where the roller is in reference to the lower roller when you put it back to get it to that height again. So you loosen it, move it, and then retighten. In this next section, we talk about the